And here too we have a definition by Dr. Taylor Slide that it refers to the various methods organizations use to establish and then maintain a mutually beneficial relationship with the communities in which they operate. So when you have an organization like ABN Ghana, which is spearheaded by Dr. Kukwati, he the various strategies, okay, the various methods that Dr. Kukwati together with his ABN industry used to establish a mutually beneficial relationship with the communities such as Kumasi, such as Accra, such as Cape Coast. Those strategies and then measures he uses in establishing a mutually, when something is mutual, what it means is that you benefit, I benefit. Okay. And when you have a mutual relationship, I think we live peacefully in the community. Now, functions of the community, we have socialization. You'll be able to interact with others very well. You would also be able to pass on values from one generation to another. Now, we also have production, distribution, and consumption of goods. I think this is what will help members of the family, members of the community, to be able to satisfy their sustenance needs, or to be able to obtain and acquire their physiological needs. We also have the social control. Social, when we talk about social, we're talking about interaction with ourselves and an environment. So families, communities are able to help us in controlling our interactions, okay, with others that we see in our environment. Okay. Now we also have the mutual support that Dr. Kwekwatin was using in maintaining, a beneficial, relationship with the community. Okay, so they help us in mutual support. When you belong to a family, your dad provides this, and when the child grows up, he is able to also feed the family. He's able to feed the dad. There is a saying that the father or the parent feed the child for their teeth to grow, and the child also grows up with a lot of wisdom. Feed his parents for their their teeth to to be cleared from their buccal cavity. I think that's fine. And then we also have social participation as a function of a community. Now we have theories for communities. Theories for communities. When we say something is a theory, it's simply a set of what is an idea. Okay. When you see um when you see a car moving, what is the idea behind a car moving? That is the general idea of a theory. Okay, so when we see a car moving, what is the idea behind the movement of the car? Okay, so we are going to talk about three major theories. We are going to talk about the ecological social system, action theories, and then the power theories. Okay, now, ecological social system. Now, when we say something is ecological, what it means is that we are just studying ecology, we are just studying living organisms and their interaction with the environment. Okay, so we are using the the relationship between living organisms and that of his or her environment as an idea of explaining the whole system of community. Okay, I think this is a very good theory for the explanation of community, or for better comprehension of what a community is. So we have population characteristics, physical environment, and then social systems or social structures that falls under the ecological social systems. Okay, so with the ecological social systems, there are three, as I said. The population characteristics, just you should circle the ecological. Okay, so what it means is that when we are talking about ecological, we said living things, so population characteristics, so the population is actually describing the living things. Okay, and then under the ecology we said living things in their environment, so the physical environment is then talking about the is then talking about the environment that we are explaining in ecology. And in the social structures, we have an environment, you know organized by social structures such as families, such as schools, chieftaincy, and other stuffs. Then we move on to the action theory. And action theory, this actually focus on relationships. No physical space, no um is just talking about relationships and then interactions, okay, and then the values that we share among ourselves in a community. So this is also an idea of explaining what a community looks like. Now we talk about power theory, and with the power theory, it focuses on influence. Who decides? Who is the champion? So that's also an idea, or that's also a theory for communities, or for community. And now we talk about changes that occurs in communities. As we are living in a community, you see some people moving from the rural areas to urban areas, and that's what we call urbanization. And we have suburbanization and then immigration or immigration. So all these things are some of the changes that occur in a community. You also have diversification of population. Okay, when you have diversification can exist in a lot of ways. It can exist in in language, in ethnicity, in ages, diversity, as it sounds diverse, okay. So these are some of the changes that are okay. You have Mampusi people, you have Africans, you have you know the Asians, you have the white people, all occupying a specific area, and that explains the diversification of populations. Now we have minority populations younger than, okay, and then we also have movement from, that's what I said, the urbanization, that's the movement from rural to rapidly growing urban areas, sorry. And we also have stronger ties to larger communities. Some of the changes that occur, okay, so these are some of the changes that occur in a community. And then we also talk about community as a resource system, okay. Now resource, it can be human resource, it can be natural resource, as well as capital resource. So the community as a resource. So then we can zoom into different types of communities. Do you understand? Oh, that's fine. So we will be zooming into different types of communities, and then how these communities serves as what resource. So we can talk about the government. We talk about the religious groups. Religious groups, what do they have and what can they do for the communities? The government, what do they have? What can they do for the community? You can talk about, government has a lot of human resource. They have capital resource, and they have some managerial rules on the natural resources as well. So there are different communities such as business groups, civic groups, consumer groups, educational and health institutions. All these people, excuse me, are resource systems um, that propagate community. Now we will move on to a very sensitive topic, a society and then a culture. Okay, so when you have a society, and what is the relationship between society and then culture? So quickly, society simply means when people agree to live successfully or live peacefully in an environment. So the people have actually learned how to live and then work together in a particular system or a particular area. And then we also say there's a saying that society is a holon. And when we say something is a holon, holon simply means something which is whole and at the same time part. Okay, so society is a whole entity on its own, but it is also part of a society. Okay, so society within a society, as simple as that. Now we move on to culture. Culture simply means the way of life of people. Okay, so when we have Africans, how do they live their lives? That's simply culture. Okay, now culture is a group phenomenon, as the saying goes, because the way of life of a group of people. So what it means is that the group is very important and essential. Okay, how did culture actually emanate, or how did culture actually evolved? Due to the interactions, daily interactions between people, daily interactions between friends, daily interaction between families, is actually where the culture actually emanated, because you'll be bringing your values and the principles, you'll be bringing your theories and ideas, you'll be bringing your beliefs, and as soon as it is externalized or objectified, then a culture is actually established. So that's how culture actually, emanated. Okay, now when you are in a community, there is some kind of, there's some kind of is some kind of conscious position or conscious yes position that clearly segregates the members of that particular community. Yeah, and so and that's what explains social status. Okay, now social status is actually categorized into three major things. Okay, remember there's three major classifications of social class. Okay, now the social did I say social status? Sorry. So three major classification of social class. Okay, we have the economic status, we have the social status, and the political status. If you are someone who is highly interested in PES or PES game, football game, then you can create a mnemonic for the social class. P standing for political power or political status, um E standing for economical, and then S for social status. Okay, so when we talk about economic, economic deals with a lot of things, but actually we are talking about finance here. You're in a community. Who is the richest person in a community? Is it Bill Gates? Is it Prince Charles? Okay, okay. Is it Cristiano Ronaldo, or is it Lionel Andre Messi Kutucini? Okay, so it talks about financial status and assets. You having a lot of assets and other stuff. And then we talk about social status. Okay, you see the king in a society. You see, you know, yeah, how advanced is he in a society. Okay, now we talk about political power. There comes the president, the members of parliament, and assemblymen, and then the unit committee members. Okay,